Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Professionals Podcast. I am your host, Rachel West, and I am a personal growth coach. I specialize in mindset, mental wellness, and addiction recovery. Today, I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Linda Yee. She is an alchemist at ARC Alchemist and a transformational coach at Junior Healers Academy. Welcome to the show, Linda.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for the invite. It's my first podcast, so I'm just so excited.
Yes, I think this is going to be great, and I think you're going to share some really great knowledge with our listeners. So, how about we just jump right in? Give us a quick 5 minute or so background on your journey and how you got to where you are at today.
Okay. Well, I grew up in a very strict Asian family where it was measured by grades, titles, and image. A perfect image in my parents, in their mind, was you get good grades, get a nice job, get married, have a house, have a car, have a kid. That was their image. So I portrayed that image, got the good grades, went to college. In my sophomore year, got a job in the financial institutions. And when I graduated from SC, they offered me a permanent job where I kind of moved up the corporate ladder, was there for about 14 years. Then in 2000, my husband said, you know what, my parents want to retire. They want us to move to Vegas to take over the family business. And at the time I was like, I don't know that I really want to do that. I saw the struggles that my parents went through. I really don't. And I said, well, but I do have one option though. If I don't have to work in corporate anymore and I can become a full-time mom, okay, fine. So he said, okay, you don't have to work. You can become a full-time mom, raise our daughter. And I said, okay, that was my way out of corporate, right? So I thought, wow, this is a great deal. I don't have to work. So that was great for a little while until the recession of late 2000 hit and the businesses struggled and eventually failed. And at that time, I had to come back into the workforce after not working for about 10, 11 years. So we went and took a chance and opened up a restaurant. My husband and I worked the front, he worked the back, and we kind of built it into a pretty good restaurant because we ended up in a lot of local publications, a national magazine called All Recipes. We were on Food Network. We were also on BuzzFeed. So I can say that we actually built a successful business, but that wasn't my life. So after the corporate and the retail, and I had to find something different that I wanted to do. And in 2017, I was introduced to energy healing. So my sister-in-law and a business partner said, hey, I want to do energy work on you. And my first inclination was, oh, no, I'm a Christian. I don't believe in that stuff. And she goes, no, it has nothing to do with your religion. And I said, no. She goes, no. She's like, no, really. It's just energy work. It's just, I'm just going to clear some of your past. And I'm like, my past? Like, there's nothing wrong with my past. I have this perfect image. What are you talking about? And she's just like, no. She goes, just let me work on you. Worst case scenario, you get a healing. Nothing happens to you. Best case, you get a healing. And I just said, oh, okay. As long as you don't have to hit me, you don't have to do anything, weird on me. I go, sure. So that's why the whole energy work came into place. So here she's doing this. So she's doing muscle testing and she's like, oh, okay. And she's doing this magnet thing going down my governing meridian. And she goes, you know what? Something happened to you that caused you to have severe anxiety. I'm like, anxiety? Well, yeah, I have some anxiety. And she says, this happened to you around 8 plus or minus a year. And I was like, oh my God, at 8, how the heck does she know that? And she goes, do you want to talk about it? And I go, well, not really. And she said, no, let's get it out. You need to process. And I had no idea what all of this terminology meant, right? So I'm like, okay, second grade. I was called on to answer a question, but because of my lack of English, because I just came from Korea, teacher called on me to answer a math question. It was a 2 blank 2 equals 4. And I guess I'm sure she was asking me what sign goes in that blank, but I said 4. Everybody in the classroom laughed at me. And I was this little girl sitting in the chair going like this, crying, tears up, my face turned red. And that was the start of my anxiety. So she's like, oh, let me just remove it for you. So this went on for about 10, 15 minutes. So she's doing this. She goes, this happened to me. This happened. She goes, do you remember this? I'm like, how the heck does she know this? So this went on for a little while. And she says, that's energy work. She goes, or how do you feel? And I said, fine. I'm totally fine. And she goes, okay, but just let me tell you something else. You may be processing. So in the next couple of days, just kind of expect emotional ups and downs. And so I said, okay, fine, whatever. So she calls me on the second day and she's like, how do you feel? I'm like, oh, great. I feel light. I'm happy, blah, blah, blah. Third day comes around. And I woke up bawling. I have no idea. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't understand this. And my husband's like, what happened? Did somebody pass away? And I'm like, no, I don't know. And he goes, why are you crying? He goes, did I do something wrong? And I go, no, it's not you. And I was an emotional mess that third day. And then by the end of the day, I was totally fine. I was back to normal, the smiles. And then fourth day, she calls me back and says, hey, how you feeling? Are you okay? I'm like, oh, great. She goes, did any processing happen? I'm like, and I had no idea what processing was, right? And so she goes, did anything happen to you? And I said, well, come to think of it, yesterday, I was kind of an emotional mess, but I don't understand why I was. And she starts laughing. And I'm like, stop laughing at me, you bee, because she goes, I told you were going to process. And I'm like, is that what it's called? And she said, yes, because you're releasing all of those emotions that you had from your childhood, everything that has gone on that you suppressed, that you did not want to process because you didn't want to think about it anymore. Now you're finally releasing it and letting go. And that's what energy work was. And that's when I was hooked. So I was like, oh my God, how do I do this? So that's why I became an energy healer.
I love that. I love that. So what does alchemist mean?
Well, alchemist, it just means, in the olden term, alchemist they used to take gold, copper and make it into gold. But an alchemy, it basically means transforming into something more beautiful. So we called ourselves alchemists because what we do is we remove trapped emotions, that trapped energy. Once we release it, the body does its work about healing himself and gets that inner happiness out of you. So we figured, hey, alchemists, we're transforming your life. We're helping you transform into something more beautiful. So that's why we call ourselves the alchemists.
I love that. So you told us how you got into energy, and I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing that. Why did you decide, other than the experience that you had that day, why do you do what it is that you do?
Oh my gosh. I really did not know what true happiness was until I found energy work. I really thought because I had achieved my perfect life of graduating, of having a family, having a child, having a home, having the car, I thought that was happiness. Until things started going away, when my daughter went off to college and I didn't have a role anymore. I was a mom, but not somebody I had to help every single day. She was gone. Then things started just disappearing from my life. And I was like, I was lost, truly. And I realized then it was just me coming out. And it was like finding the happiness, the true happiness that I've never had. So the energy work has got me to where I am today. I'm not perfect in any way, but I'm so happy in where I am right now. And as I get better and better and better at what I do, I realize, oh my God, there's so many people out there who go to jobs every single day. They're on this monotony kind of robotic mode where you get up, you go to work, come home, eat dinner, go to bed, and the whole cycle, but never finding true happiness. So when I found true happiness and knew it was possible, and all I had to do was some muscle testing and help people relieve some of that limitations that they have, that relieve some of the energy blocks, some of their trapped emotions, and they could find their true happiness. Wow, that happiness and the kindness that people show, what a better world this would be. And I noticed when I was happier, I was much kinder. I was nicer. I saw everything differently. Even though we live in the same earth, I saw the dirt differently. I saw trees differently. The birds, you never think about, okay, the birds fly away, but you never really thought about what the birds did or the bees did, So my whole perception of life changed. So I do, because I want to be able to do the same thing for other people and not just live a monotony of, okay, same old thing, same day. It was a different day, same thing, different day mantra. So it's trying to get people to find their happiness. So that I just enjoy doing that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I was in that same boat. I found myself just going through life, checking off the boxes that we get from society or our parents, and we don't know what we don't know. And so we just think we have to do these things, and then we're going to be happy once we do it. And I was doing the same thing. Okay, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to pick a career. I'm going to do this, do this, do this. And I was just going off, checking off the boxes. And I was good at what I did, and I liked doing it. And so many people fall into that, where they just do it because it's what they know. They do it because they're good at it.
Yes.
But it doesn't really fulfill them and bring them happiness. And it wasn't for me until I discovered personal growth and development. I had never heard of it. I didn't know what it was. And that really set me on my journey to learning and discovering, just like you did.
Yes, absolutely. Agree with you 100%. And it's true. You don't know what you don't know, right? And you thought that's what life was supposed to be until you find the true meaning of life and the true happiness. Then it's just like, wow. It's like, oh, the light bulb was on.
Yeah. I want to step back just a second and ask you what muscle testing is for those that might not know it, because you've mentioned it a couple times.
Okay. So muscle testing is like a lie detector test. So instead of being hooked up, you test it on yourself. So there's different ways of doing muscle testing. There's the sway method, where you stand up and you close your eyes and you just ask, telling your body, swing in the direction of yes. And your body, when you're standing and you close your eyes and you just think about, it'll automatically usually go forward. And you're like, ooh. So then you tell the body, it's like, oh, swing in the direction of no. And your body will go backwards. And it's basically asking your unconscious mind, because your unconscious mind knows the truth, could never tell a lie. And so you're telling the unconscious mind, you're asking questions, and your body reacts to a favorable answer by one way, swaying one way, or an unfavorable or a lie, swinging the other way. So there's the sway method, there's the arm methods, there's the finger. There's different methods of doing it, but it's actually a human lie detector test.
That's a really powerful tool.
It is. It is.
So if you want to know more about that, reach out to Linda and she can help you learn how to do muscle testing.
If I may share one,
yes,
story.
Of course.
So my sister-in-law, who's an energy healer, she taught her son how to do muscle testing. So he was homeschooled for several years, and he was getting 100% on his test. So his mom's like, are you cheating? He goes, no, Mom. I go, are you sure? Because there's no way you can be getting 100%. He goes, is muscle testing cheating? And she was just like,
my God.
You learned something. But at the same time, it's like, oh, wait, is that cheating? So that's my funny story about muscle testing. Every time I talk about that, it's just like, wow, kids, what they'll do, right?
That is really smart because our unconscious mind retains everything that we're learning, but we consciously don't retain it all.
Yes,
So that is really, really smart of him. What is it? The least resistant path to success, right?
yes.
Like go clean your room, and they throw everything in the closet under the bed, and they're back out in 2 minutes, and they're like, I cleaned my room, and there's like no way you cleaned your room that fast, and you go in there and everything's spotless, and you're like, how did you do that? And you open the closet and everything falls out because they just learned to do it the fastest way.
Absolutely.
So smart. What advice would you give to somebody that might be interested in learning about energy or wanting to get into energy work themselves?
Well, I do offer free consultations. So they can just call me up and no charge, and we can just talk and have an exploratory session and talk about, I can answer their questions, what energy work is. I could even show them on a quick session how it works. It's physically, there's nothing that happens other than a magnet that goes down your governing meridian. So it's not painful. It's just basically emotional work. And we believe that once you start releasing energetically the trapped emotions or the trapped energy, your body does what it needs to. It heals itself. And once you have a healthy body, your mind is healthier, your immune system's healthier, you're overall, you're just healthier and happier person.
Yeah. So I know you have a nonprofit. Do you want to talk about that a little bit and share what you do?
Yeah, so we started a nonprofit because we felt that as we found this work as an adult, but had we known this type of thing existed 40, 50 years ago as a child, oh my God, what a different human being we would have been. So we teach kids not only just the energy healing aspect, but we teach them life skills. We teach them things that aren't taught in schools. We teach them how to heal themselves when they are encountering life situations where things are difficult for them. We teach them how to overcome that, and we empower them so they can become the best version of themselves. So imagine if these empowered kids, because they are our future, how different our future is going to be because they're empowered. They're not put down as a kid that you suck, you're this, but you're empowered to be that best person and kinder. Our next generation is going to make our world a better place than what we had growing up.
I love that. And how can people get involved or learn more about the
Absolutely, the nonprofit. They can contact us, or you can go into our website called juniorhealersacademy.org. You can contact us through that way. We're always looking for volunteers as well as corporate sponsors to help us do our work. Right now, we work with a lot of underprivileged children, and that takes a lot of money to get the teachers involved to help us to run these programs. So any corporate sponsors out there is willing to look for other nonprofits helping youth and young children, please, we're available.
Yes, please reach out to Linda.
Yes.
How does being a professional impact the work that you do in energy?
Wow. Being a professional, I don't call myself a professional. I'm just a healer like anybody else. I'm no different than anybody else. I just basically know how to use the tools that I have to better myself. And by doing that, it actually makes everything else so much more easier. So any professionals out there, or anybody who have energy blocks or money blocks, relationship blocks that need a little bit of assistance, I'd be more than happy to show you how to do that, clear that block for you so you can become the best version or the best salesperson, the best having the best relationship. I'm there just to help that remove those limitations, the limiting beliefs, the limiting blockages that you may have in your unconscious mind. So I'm just there to help you out.
What does being a healer mean to you?
Healer, it's just a term. I look at it as you're just healing your inner core. I think as kids growing up, I'm sure many of us gone through traumas, whether it's from home, from school, from outside sources. We've all gone through some type of trauma that we can heal ourselves from. So I'm just there to help you pull out those traumas, release it, process it, and not allow that to be your limiting belief that prevents you from being your best.
I love that. What's the best way for people to get in contact with you?
So we have a website called ARK.Alchemist.com, ARK, so Acts of Random Kindness Alchemist.com. You can go onto our page, learn more about it. There's a please contact us page that you can click on, or you can give me a call. I can put it in the chat box with my information as well. But before I talk about the rest of this, I just wanted to put something in there that not only do I work with people, but I also work with animals. And so I'm a certified pet nutritionist, but we love working with animals because they don't have expectations like people. They don't talk back to you. So we worked with dogs, horses. I've actually personally worked with birds. My partner has worked with donkeys and even pigs. And we found that when we did energy work with animals, they became loving. They did what they were supposed to. In a case like horses, the rider trainer had better relationship with them, and they had like the best competition ever because they were so at their prime, I guess would be the word, to be in a competition. So we've gotten such great feedback from owners of horses and dogs that we've worked with, says, oh my God, they're a different animal now. That my dog, it doesn't bark at strangers. My horse did the best competition ever. So we're not just people healers, but we're also animal healers too.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so nice. I love that so much. Any final words for our listeners?
No, but I just want to put it out there. I know there are a lot of people who are like me that think because of their religion, energy work is something that not to be touched. I had that mindset. Energy work has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with your background. It really is truly just letting go of everything, all your limitations that your unconscious mind is holding on to. We just help you to release that and let go so you can become a better version. So just look at it in a perspective as it's non-religious and it is just a form, another tool to just help you become the very best in you.
I love that. Thank you so much for being on the show today. This was so much fun.
It was. Thank you so much, Rachel. I'm so appreciative for you and meeting you. I know it was my journey to meet you.
Yes. So this is the Professionals Podcast. I am your host, Rachel West, where I have a belief that when we take the time to get to know others, a professional, we really find that we have a lot more in common than we do different. And so I really like to bring on guests that are willing to be vulnerable and share their journey and how they got to where they are, because I know when we look at social media or any form of media, we see the glitz and the glam, we see the perfect life, when in reality, it took a lot to get to that point. And so I really want to bring on guests that are willing to share that journey, speed bumps that get in the way, because we all have them, just to let others out there know that they're not alone. They can get over them. They will get over them, and to keep pushing through.
Absolutely.
Join us again next month. We're here on the first Wednesday of every month. February 1st will be our next podcast with another special guest. Thank you so much, and we'll see you then.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.